I have noticed more and more on TV, in movies, and in the newspaper the discussion of bipolar disorder. And most recently, a singer by the name of Britney Spears has been the topic of this discussion. Maybe she has bipolar disorder. But really, here at the Deaf Counseling Center, we don't support labels. I've been seeing many people have the wrong perception about bipolar disorder, and it's very important to clear that up. Bipolar disorder is basically when your mood fluctuates. And we all experience mood changes throughout the day. Life can be frustrating, it can be sad, it can be exciting. Our moods fluctuate. But bipolar disorder is a bit more serious. The fluctuations are a bit more extreme. It's not exactly the same. A person can manage their feelings, they can manage the fluctuation, they can manage the brain chemicals that are happening. It's a condition that requires medication conscious. There are also other names for bipolar disorder. In the past it was called manic depressive because it included fluctuations in the depression. Manic included the fluctuations of a high mood where you have high intensity of emotions, where maybe you're thinking fast and you're making judgments quickly, and you have an increase in energy and you're enthusiastic and you want to be busy. And then when the mood goes down, you feel tired and sleepy. So when the fluctuation goes up, you have a surge of energy. And some people think of it as maybe manipulative, that you're controlling, that you want to get stuff done, and that you're very driven. This may cause some people to gamble their money and to do extreme shopping because of the sudden urge of energy. And mania is the process of going up. Mania is the process of when you go down in the bipolar disorder. And we've all experienced that, feeling sad, feeling lousy, just not up to things. Maybe we're sleeping too much, or we're not sleeping enough, we're not eating enough, or we're overeating. Our expectations of the future. Some people may think about dying, and depression is linked to bipolar disorder. And some people who experience that, they get even a worse form of depression when they have bipolar disorder. When you feel depression for bipolar disorder, is actually worse than just having depression alone. And the reason for that is because you just experienced a surge of energy and now you're experiencing a crash. So depression in the bipolar is even worse. And 1 out of 5 people, when they take medication for bipolar disorder, they end up killing themselves. So how much time is between the fluctuations? It is different for each person because anyone with bipolar disorder is not going to be the same person as the next. The fluctuations are going to be different. The manics may be 2 or 3 times a week or 2 or 3 times a month, and then when the fluctuations go down, it could be a kind of a plateau. That could happen 2 or 3 times a week, 2 or 3, 4 times a month, and the fluctuations keep going. And for young children, and for teenagers as well, you tend to see more fluctuations. Sometimes it can happen in a day, that one day you experience many mood swings and mood changes. It's hard to identify bipolar disorder, and one of the reasons for that is that some people who use bipolar disorder are addicted to caffeine. And the caffeine makes it look like the surge.
Hear that? That's nothing. Which is what I, as a speaker at today's conference, have for you all. I have nothing. Nada. Zip. Zilch. Zippo. Nothing smart. Nothing inspirational. Nothing even remotely researched at all. I have absolutely nothing to say whatsoever. And yet, through my manner of speaking, I will make it seem like I do. Like what I am saying is brilliant. And maybe, just maybe, you will feel like you've learned something. Now, I'm going to get started with the opening. I'm going to make a lot of hand gestures. I'm going to do this with my right hand. I'm going to do this with my left. I'm going to adjust my glasses. And then I'm going to ask you all a question. By show of hands, how many of you all have been asked a question before? OK, great. I'm seeing some hands. And again, I have nothing here. Now, I'm going to react to that and act like I'm telling you a personal anecdote. Something to break the tension, something to endear myself a little bit, something kind of embarrassing. And you guys are going to make an awe sound. It's true. It really happened. And now I'm going to bring it to a broader point. I'm going to reel you back in. I'm going to make it intellectual. I'm going to bring it to this man right here. Now, what this man did was important, I'm sure. But I, for one, have no idea who he is. I simply Google image the word scientist. And now, you see, I'd like it to seem like I'm making points, building an argument, inspiring you to change your life, when in reality, this is just me buying time. Now, if you don't believe me, let's take a look at the numbers. This is a real thing that's happening right now. The number of talks that I'm giving is 1. Interesting facts imparted thus far in said talk, well, that's going to be a 0. My height in inches is 70.5. Note the 0.5 there. 2 times 6 equals 12. And then interestingly enough, 6 times 2 also equals 12. That's math. 352 is a 3-digit number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then almost immediately following that, we get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, to add more filler here, I'm going to give you a couple more numbers to consider. 18, 237, 5,601, 2.6 million, 4, 24, staggering. These are real numbers, all of them. And to follow that up, let's take a look at some graphs. Now, if you take a look at this pie chart, what you're going to see is that the majority far exceeds the minority. Everybody see that? Cool, isn't it? And let's take a look at this bar graph, because it shows similarly irrelevant data. Now, I'm doing this because I'd like to make it seem like I've done my homework. If you were, say, watching this on YouTube with the sound off, you might think, huh, OK, this guy knows what he's talking about. But I don't. I'm floundering, panicking, I've got nothing. I'm a total and utter phony. But you know what? I was offered a TED Talk. And damn it, I'm going to see it through. Now, if you take a look behind me, these are just words paired with vaguely thought-provoking stock photos. I'm going to point at them like I'm making use both of my time as well as your time, but in reality, I don't know what half of them mean. And now, as these continue, I'm just going to start saying gibberish. Wagga wah, gabba gabba, turkey, mouth in a mouth, chip, trip, my dog Skip. Rip it and dip it, Richard. I'm an itty-bitty baby bopper, and I'm hungry in my tum-tum. Brad Pitt, Uma Thurman. Names, things, words, and more things. And see, it feels like it might make sense, doesn't it? Like maybe, just maybe, I'm building to some sort of satisfying conclusion. I mean, I'm gesticulating as though I am. I'm pacing, I'm growing in intensity. I'm taking off my glasses, which, by the way, are just frames. I wore them to look smart, even though my vision is perfect. And now I'm going to slow things down a little bit. I'm going to change the tone. I'm going to make it seem like I'm building to a moment.